Yo, let's go, and welcome to the first episode of the Boomkin Breakdown. And in this first video, I wanted to break down my Prince fight from our second Karazhan run, starting off with what gear I had and what enchants I was using. I'll add a link to the 70 upgrades in the description. I got the tier 4 helm the first week, and got my Shatar rep to Revered so I could get the Glyph of Power. I put the 12 spell power gem for the red slot, and I'm using the Swift Starfire diamond from the Spirit Shards for 12 spell power and a minor run increase. I haven't seen anybody selling the Ember Star Skyfire on the server yet, but I think I would go with this one, and I'd like to try out the Chaotic Skyfire as well to test the difference of the two, but for now it's just the Swift Starfire. Still using Choker of the Fire Lord. I've run Shadow Labs a lot to try to get that since it has a hit on it. I do have the Hit Shoulders Mantle of 3 Terrors. I've seen lots of people running around with these, and I have the old ZG enchant on them. So for the cloak, I have Cloak of the Devoured. If I could get the Ruby Drape from Prince, I would use that right now instead, and once I'm better hit capped, I would go for the Fruit Cloak from Gruul. So we're running Gruul Monday. That drops, I'm definitely going to be rolling on it. Chest piece, I got one with lots of spell power for now, and these 6 stats using the Veiled Noble Topaz and the Cheap Vendor 5 spell power. Bracers, still using the Rock Fury. Someone's selling Bracers of Havoc for 500 gold right now on the server, and that's a little steep for me. I haven't upgraded those just yet. I've got the Grand Marshal's War Staff, 38,000 honor and 40 EV tokens. I was honor capped and had 100 of each mark during the pre-patch, so I had more than enough to pick this up, but 20 hit on it, as well as the crit, spell power, intellect, everything. Got the Gloves of Oblivion, 20 hit on there, 20 spell power, enchant. So I replaced my Eyestock Waist Cord for a Doll's Gift. It's got a lot more intellect, a little bit more crit, only slightly less spell power. Someone's selling the pattern for Girdle of Ruination for 2.5k, so I haven't got that yet, and since I don't have any of the pieces yet crafted for the Spellfire, I'm not using that one yet. Maybe the Gruul's belt will drop on Monday and I can have a chance at that. Legs, we have the Mystic Spell Thread, don't have the Runic yet for the 10 extra spell power. And feet, no enchant since the meta gem has the minor run speed. I haven't seen anybody with Vitality yet, but I would get Vitality. Got the gem from Honor Hold, the 10 marks of honor for the 8 spell power. Then I got the Honor gem, the Potent Ornate Topaz for 6 spell damage and 5 crit. Still got my old rings, 12 spell power enchanted on both, same with the trinkets, old trinkets, and the idol, the Moon Goddess for the Starfire increase. So unbuffed, so I'm looking at 908 spell power with this, 13.99% hit. I had Draenei in my group, so I was at basically 15%, so almost capped. And crit in Moonkin, looking at 15.62, but with the talents, Focus Starlight, I have another 4% for Starfire and Wrath, 19.62 for Starfire and Wrath, and then the other talent for Moonfire gives it 10% extra crit, 25.62% for Moonfire. Another thing to point out is my Spirit at 178, a little low for me. Unbuffed, I would like to have 225, and my mana 7280. So for the spec, got 5 out of 5 Starlight. Choose either Nature's Grasp or Control of Nature. So I just put 1 point in Nature's Grasp, because I had PvP, 2 out of 2 Focus Starlight, 2 out of 2 Improved Moonfire, Insect Swarm, both Nature's Reach, 2 out of 3 Bramble, and 5 Vengeance, and we're gonna get everything else in the balance tree, skipping Celestial Focus. And the last 14 points we'll put into the rest of the tree, so Improved Mark of the Wild, Natural Shapeshifter. I do 2 in Nature's Focus, max out Intensity, and then the last point in Subtlety. I'd like to have more points in Subtlety because I'm having some threat issues right now, but I can't justify taking any points out of the balance tree just yet to move over there, and I don't want to put the Subtlety to Cloak. I'd much rather have the Spell Pen. It seems like I'm getting partial resists on a lot of the bosses in Karazhan, so having that Spell Pen probably helps more, and the enchant's only for 2%, so there's a lot of info here to try to digest. Alright, so fully buffed in this group, I had a Priest with Improved Divine Spirit. We had 2 Paladins, so I had Salve and Kings. Shaman, so I had the 1% hit Spell Power Totem. Mage for Intellect, I had Mark of the Wild. For the Weapon Oil, I had the old Brilliant Wizard Oil. Flask of Supreme Power, and food, I had the Blackened Basilisk. So with all those buffs, I had 1192 spell power. The hit was what, 14.99%. Crit is 17.47. So with the talents for Wrath and Starfire, it's 21.47% crit. And for Moonfire, with the extra 10%, is 27.47. So we buffed our Spirit a lot and have 292 Spirit, 444 Intellect for 8,750 Mana Pool. Right, so the start of the rotation is Fairy Fire, Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and then we got a Nature's Grace proc, so the next spell would be Starfire. If we didn't get that Nature's Grace proc, I would Wrath first for an extra chance to get Nature's Grace, and then Starfire after. But Fairy Fire is always going to be the first spell, and then instead of using Moonfire first and then Insect Swarm, I'm using Insect Swarm to make sure that I'm not pulling threat with a Moonfire crit, just to be safe. I mean, our tank's got plenty of threat on this pull, but just to make sure, I do Insect Swarm first for now. So then we're going to Starfire, I think it's 3 times. There's 2, 3. And since there's that little bit left, to make sure that the last tick goes off, I'm going to Wrath, and then reapply Insect Swarm and Moonfire. And here I have no Nature's Grace proc, and I saw I did this throughout the fight. I went ahead and Starfired anyways, but I need to get into the habit of using that Wrath first and then Starfire if I have no Nature's Grace. So the timers are a little off. I used trees right here, and Shadow Nova says it's going off now. Takes another couple seconds, but I didn't have that great of an uptime on the trees. It just died right there to the Shadow Nova. I need to watch out better for that. I think it's 25 or 30 seconds between the Novas, so I want to wait for that Nova and then put the trees down to try to get more uptime. I only had 3.5k damage, which isn't bad, but we should be getting like 9 or 10k damage out of them. The only other thing with the trees is I wouldn't put them up right away. Try to wait until there's at least the 5 Sunders on the boss. How long does it take here? We just have the warrior tank, so he's taking a little while to even get to 5, so now that that's all the way up, Fairy Fire's up, I need to find a spot somewhere in here to have trees to go down. And if we had a rogue, I'd want that improved exposed armor up as well. Alright, so when I used Innervate, I had 3,660 mana, and then by the end of Innervate, I had 7,381 mana, but we ended with like 3k more mana when Innervate finished. And that's from having all of that spirit. And I did use 2 mana pots and 2 dark runes. I used my first mana pot pretty late into the fight. I was already down to like 2k mana before I used my first potion. Definitely need to use that a lot earlier, because all the way at the end here I did run out. I could have got maybe one more Moonfire off, but I was just completely tapped. And as you can see here, I have some scrolls. I have scrolls for Intellect and Spirit, just in case something happened to our priest or our mage. I would have those to put up. So a crazy thing, I had 49 Starfires, and all of them hit, and our actual crit percentage is pretty close to what it should have been. And our Wrath, we only had 11 casts, so I missed one, but out of those casts I had a 30% crit, just well over the 21.47%. Moonfire crit was the opposite. It was a lot lower. Moonfire crit chance was 27.47. We only had a 20% crit off 15 casts. So I had the bonus damage book So you can see here I had an extra 6.8k damage from having that book, and I wasn't sure when we were using heroism, so yeah, I used my trinket, get a couple casts off. Trinket is like halfway over before I get my first cast during heroism, so I should have saved it for 10 more seconds and had that much extra uptime on the trinket during heroism. So I let Insect Swarm and Moonfire fall off at about 8% left. I might have been able to get one more of each in, but I had also let Fairy Fire fall off at like 12%, I think it was. Yeah, so I let Fairy Fire fall off at 12% and just went full pump. We had the Warrior and the Hunter were the only two that were going to be benefiting from that, but I was greedy. But one thing to note is the Shaman's putting up Storm Strike, which is increasing the damage of Wrath 20%. So I was stealing a lot of those. So right there, that Wrath just crit 3.37. So I've gotten 2 pieces so far. I got the tier 4 helm, and then this week I got Hand Wraps of Flowing Thought. I just need a blue gem. I want to get a fluorescent tanzanite out of Heroic Blood Furnace to put in that socket, then I can start using these. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully some of this information helps you to get ready for your next raid. Got Gruul's Lair tomorrow night. I'll be streaming that over on Twitch at twitch.tv/classicgo. Please like the video if you'd like to see more of these, and comment down below any questions you have, and I'll try to reply as soon as I can.